As long as I was going after the crooks that didn't have badges, I was everybody's hero.
Greetings, Vic, in the newsroom.
We're still here. Yes, sir.
With the good vibe prayer flags.
Yeah. Good vibe prayer flags. I'm wearing a vintage Vic Fazel shirt.
You know what I find amazing about the shirt, and I told you this earlier, is it's in like pristine condition. That shirt's like 30 years old.
Yeah, or older. These shirts were made
Pristine.
in 1985.
Oh my God.
85 and 86. Yes.
That's 35 years old.
No, 80. These had to have been made in 86 because I wasn't arrested
34 years old.
until September 86.
Looks great, man. You kept it vintage.
Yeah.
Truly vintage.
It's got the thumbs up on it that I made famous on the courthouse steps when I said, you know what's going on here, and I'll still be proven right.
I think y'all know what's going on. What I've said all along, I'll still be proven right.
And the chain's breaking, and that was a prophecy that I had made, that these chains would break, and they did break.
They did break?
They did break. And I've broken chains for other people along the way, too. But it's so great to be back here in the studio
so good
with
to be
you.
back. Got my coffee, got my Vic.
Got my tea.
Got your tea with you? Well, Vic, while you're drinking your tea, we've had a lot of fan mail since we've been away, like a lot.
I know.
Well, we get stuff every day from all over the world, and I picked out a couple, just to wet the whistle of feedback. So let me hit a couple of these, and if you want your letter read on the air, go ahead and send us an email, positive, negative, whatever you want. We'll read through it. Like this one, Vic. This is a gem. This is from a woman by the name of Susan. Susan says, I didn't like the comment you made on your last show that the rioters should go cut up policewomen and policemen uniforms at the cleaners. Very juvenile behavior. There are other ways to address the problem. I've known bad and excellent law enforcement. Even lost a very good friend in the line of duty. Probably will not watch you anymore.
Oh, well, that's okay, Susan. I hope you do watch us, though, because I'm trying to get people to think. Now, I saw this letter, this email, and I do want to say that it's not Susan Kelly.
Right.
Susan Kelly here is a friend of mine here in Waco. I supported her when she ran for district judge, which unfortunately she didn't make it.
I know.
But I really wish she had, because she'd have been great. So this is not Susan Kelly. But we're not going to say the last name, but I do want to say, Susan, thank you for your comments. I really wasn't suggesting anybody go break into a dry cleaner's and cut up police uniforms. I was just talking tongue-in-cheek, joking, because if you listen to the whole podcast, I had been talking about the Boston Tea Party.
True.
And how it was kind of American to go destroy stuff sometimes. But you need to destroy the right stuff.
The right stuff.
And I was just making an off-the-wall comment, and I agree with you. That is juvenile. And also, I'd never do that to the poor old guy that owns the cleaners. He's just like the rest of us, trying to make a living.
That's a fact.
Now, what I would do, if you really want to know, I'll tell you how I would handle it.
What are you going to do?
Well, when I was in college, I told you I studied, I had a degree in religion.
Right.
But I was also studying sociology with an emphasis in social work. That's like having two majors. You had that many hours you had to take. And in the social work classes, we studied a guy named Saul Alinsky.
Right.
Now, you might remember that name from the Obama campaign, because the far right jumped all over Obama for going to the University of Chicago and studying Saul Alinsky. Saul Alinsky wrote a great book called Rules for Radicals.
Mm-hmm.
I read it. It was required reading in my social work class at the Baptist College, Mary Hardin Baylor in Belton, back in maybe 1970, 71 is when I read Rules for Radicals. Saul Alinsky was a community organizer. And I wanted to, back then I was still thinking about being a missionary, but I wanted to be like a community organizer as a missionary and work with the indigenous people of the United States, the American Indians.
Cool.
Because my father had been a missionary at a couple of the pueblos in New Mexico when I was a child.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to do. But yeah, Obama was trashed for Saul Alinsky. Well, Saul Alinsky was smart. He got a lot of good changes into into Chicago and into America with nonviolent protest.
Okay.
Sometimes he wouldn't even have to do it because part of his philosophy, part of his plan was, I will come up with this great idea of what we're going to do, and then after we get it in motion, when it's too late to stop us, unless we want to stop, we leak it to the other side and give them an hour or so to meet our demands. And he got that one time because he had a plan to go to, I believe is it Dulles that's in Chicago? Anyway, the big airport in Chicago. I forget. I've flown there before. I love Chicago. It's a beautiful town, but I can't remember the name of the airport. But his idea was and it was because the airport was not hiring any black people.
Oh.
They just would not hire black people to work at the airport. And that wasn't right. And so Saul Alinsky got with the NAACP and some of the black leaders, and they gathered up bunches of people. They had the Greyhound buses already leased to take these people out to the airport. And they were all dressed nice, and they all had a book and a dime. That was the only weapon they needed, because all the toilets in that airport were pay toilets.
Really?
You had to drop in a dime and open the door and shut it, and it would close behind you.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, it used to be that way in the old days.
Wow.
And his idea was to bus all these people in there. They go to the toilet, they drop in their dime, they sit down, they start reading their book.
Oh,
and
wow.
They don't leave until they're either forced out or their replacement comes.
Wow.
And if they're forced out, then they've got another replacement wandering up and down the hall, because this was before all the security. This was before 9/11. And then they would put in their dime and they'd go in there. So, crap was going to back up. People were going to be upset.
Yeah.
This was not going to be good for Chicago. So Mayor Daley caved in and decided, okay, don't do that. And we will work out a deal to start hiring minorities at the Chicago airport.
Wow.
And they did.
That's pretty cool.
And that's the way Saul Alinsky did it. Now, the protests we have going on there, and what I was saying, Susan, about the
uniforms?
The uniforms, I was saying find something that you can do that means something to them. Well, if we really want national change, and we're starting to see a little of it trickle through,
We're starting to
little
see
of
some
it.
new ideas.
But if we want national change, we gotta go after something that somebody really cares about, who has the power to make the decision. I'm talking Trump Tower.
Hey.
If I were in charge of the protest, I'd be getting my people organized. I'd be community organizing, not just a bunch of everybody show up down the street and let's raise hell and break windows. Hell no, that's wrong, that's criminal. Get them organized. Put some people in suits, carry briefcases, go into Trump Tower and sit in the bathroom all day and don't leave.
Bring a dime.
Have a bunch of other ones in the elevator.
Yeah.
Punch every single button.
Oh, God.
Fill up the elevator. Put 20 of your guys in the elevator, all in nice suits, carrying paperwork, and filling up the elevator. And then the people that don't want to do that, have your second wave. And they're the ones that can block the street to Trump Tower, And when the police come and they run you off, well, don't get in a confrontation. Just back up and have other people ready to come in from the other direction and block off access to Trump Tower from the other direction, and just keep it flowing back and forth.
You really thought this
without
out.
any violence. Oh, I read Saul Alinsky. I loved Saul Alinsky. I studied Saul Alinsky. I'm sorry if you think my views are leftist, but they're really not. All I'm asking for is for the right thing. So if integrated schools are leftist, I guess I am. If legalizing marijuana is leftist, I guess I am.
Do you think we're going to see it? What do you think?
I don't know. I know we certainly need tax money. And they're already talking about raising our taxes, guys. Raising our taxes at a time when we haven't seen inflation kick in yet.
Did you see down in Austin, they're looking at raising property tax 25%.
Holy cow.
Yes, sir.
That's going to put a lot of people out of their homes.
Yes.
It's going to create a real estate crisis. Banks are going to start foreclosing because if you don't pay your tax, they foreclose.
Sure.
Your payments go up because if that's a mortgage,
Yes, sir.
your payments go up and they'll be kicking you out of your house. And then only the 1% will own the property, will own all the property.
All the
and
property, Vic.
All be
all
renters.
The property.
We'll all be renters and we're all back to
Company
40
store.
acres and a mule.
Company store.
Yeah, company store. I owe my soul to the company store. St. Peter don't take me because I can't go.
That's it.
I owe my soul to the company store. Yeah, that's what it's going to be like. It's even worse than 40 acres and a mule. We're going to be just enslaved to the lending institutions.
But that's the society we live in, though, Vic. Is they've said that we're going into the new generation is a rental society. They want to rent their house, want to rent a car, they want to rent a subscription to Netflix. That's it now. It's all about the monthly subscriptions.
Well, it's going to
It's a
happen.
rental society.
And I feel sorry for everybody on a fixed income because inflation is about to kick in. You cannot print $1 trillion overnight and inflation not kick in. As soon as the rest of the world starts getting on their feet, they're going to devalue our dollar.
Yeah, man.
That's
the truth.
China has been hoarding gold for years and years and years.
The gold.
They have enough gold, they can put out a gold-backed note. Now, what do you think Europe and Africa and Australia and the rest of Asia, is the dollar going to be the universal currency anymore?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I remember when our national debt first hit $1 trillion. And man, you had people like Newt Gingrich and Rush Limbaugh and all the loudmouths out there just screaming about inflation and how this was just destroying everybody's estate. Whether your estate is $5 in the bank or it's a big estate, it was destroying. Inflation eats away. It'll half what you own.
Right.
And back during the inflation of that time, after we were in debt just $1 trillion and realized it, I remember interest rates on a home going up to 20%.
No.
Credit cards were 22%.
God.
But the rich people could buy tax-free municipal bonds because back then I was one, and I had a bunch of tax-free municipal bonds, short ones, 5 years.
That's awesome.
That were paying 6% tax-free.
That's insane.
I had 30-year municipal bonds.
Yeah.
That were paying 12%.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you'd be willing to stretch it out, and if you had to sell it before it matured, you took a hickey.
Sure.
And I had to sell it all before it matured because of the IRS changing the tax code, making it retroactive and
Just
coming
come
after
and get
me.
you.
So, Susan, I hope you still listen. I hope you still watch us. I don't want that. I think we need to hit the pressure point. And where's the pressure point here? Who can make the decisions? Who can decide, all right, racism is not right? Who can decide that?
Your dad.
Yeah, my dad. Donald Trump can decide that.
Yeah.
Who can decide and pass the laws and do the things to get it going, to get some progress, instead of constantly throwing gas on the fire? Yeah. You don't want that.
Don't want that.
And I don't like violence at all. So figure out some nonviolent way. But my way would be I would totally cripple Trump Tower. And, for the people listening, we have global listeners all over the world. Trump's got properties all over the world. If I were in Florida, nobody would be going to that golf resort. What's the name of it?
I don't remember the name
of it. Largo or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, I'm making fun.
Margo,
anyway, where are the hippies, man? Go down there and block the roads into there. Quit doing this crazy stuff out on the street.
Are you summoning the hippies back?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
we
man.
need some old hippies to come up and teach these young people how to do it. Abby Hoffman would just be screaming. And the young protesters today probably don't even know who Abby Hoffman was.
I don't know who Abby Hoffman was.
Oh, man, Google him. He was one of the Chicago 7. He was one of the ones who was organizing the protests and riots outside the Democratic Convention in Chicago in 1968. And they arrested 7 of the organizers, and Abby Hoffman was one of them. Abby Hoffman had been had studied Saul Alinsky as well. I wish he had studied it a little better, and we wouldn't have had so much violence in Chicago.
Right.
But Abby Hoffman, there's a good movie about Abby Hoffman. It's his biography. He wrote a book called Steal This Book, and I think the movie is called Steal This Movie.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Abby Hoffman.
I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even after he was older, I remember they were trying to save something on the beach, and this lady had come up with this great slogan. She thought she'd be on bumper stickers, and it was just too long, like nobody's going to relate to that. And so he said, no, just say this, boom, and it was 1 word or 2 words, and it resonated. Okay. And you have to resonate. You have to resonate. You have to hit the pressure points. Free-floating hostility does no good. No good. Free-floating hostility just hurts the people that are being hostile, especially today when you're getting exposed to this virus.
Wave 2, Vic.
Yeah, and I tell you, the virus does not discriminate.
It just
It'll get you if you're black, if you're white,
young, old,
old. It's not discriminating. Now, it's just bad. So
it's just bad.
Be careful, people. Wear your mask.
Wear your mask. Stay inside. Don't come out.
Wear your rubber gloves.
Crazy, Vic.
It is kind of crazy. But that's what you have to do. You have to find their pressure point, hit the pressure point. Our president is in a position right now where he could legalize marijuana.
He could.
He could.
Because
really we need that tax money. And people sitting at home, it makes you a better parent. It makes you more, because people who don't like it, they don't know it.
And
they don't know it.
And that's true.
They remember the one time they smoked it in college and got scared. Sure. Well, that wasn't the weed. That was you. That's issues that are coming up that would be good for you to sit and think about and deal with, and it'll make you a better person. Cannabis is sort of a mini entheogen.
Right.
Now, the word entheogen means some substance that helps you see God.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, magic mushrooms, LSD, ayahuasca, 2CT7, peyote, those things are considered entheogens. Marijuana is real small entheogen because it kind of depends on your mindset. Some people, if you're less mature, you'll get the giggles.
Hey.
Some people who have a lot of physical identity with the body and the senses of the body, they'll overeat with the munchies. I remember when I used to smoke, I wanted to read the Bible.
Really?
Yeah,
that
or meditate, or sit and have good conversations with like-minded friends. And it's a good thing, and our country needs it. And it would get so many of our veterans and our older people off of
so many
these
benefits.
God-awful prescription drugs. Congress is committing treason against the people by keeping marijuana illegal and keeping these killer drugs legal.
True.
They're out there doing favors for their buddies in the pharmaceutical industry who are giving them the big contributions. And the pharmaceutical industry and the alcohol industry doesn't want weed legalized.
True.
Now, some of the alcohol industry is starting to see the writing on the wall, and they're starting to buy up some of these little startup marijuana companies. And I think, the stocks have just plummeted because everybody thought it would be legal by now, and it hasn't. True. I remember I bought $10,000 worth of a Canadian stock, and it's worth about $2,000 now. Yes. But I'm holding on for dear life. Yeah, holding on for dear life. Keep praying for a miracle. God gave us that. You drop a seed in the ground, it grows. It doesn't need any kind of manufacturing. It doesn't need anything.
Pretty cool.
It says right there in the book of Genesis that every seed-bearing herb was given to man by God for his use.
Hey, there you go.
That's one of them.
Well, there you go.
And we already know it has a beneficial benefit on many kinds of cancer.
Oh, God, yes.
And they've already proven that smoking weed, for some odd reason, does not cause cancer.
Boom.
Now, it can give you a little phlegm in your throat. It can make you hack up a brown loogie, but it's not going to give you cancer. More people die from eating shrimp every day than have died in the history of the world. Yeah, some people are allergic to shrimp, just like they are to peanuts. More people have died from eating peanuts.
True.
Than have died from weed in the history of the entire world.
That's pretty wild.
Yes.
So there's no reason. Legalize it.
Legalize it. Legalize it. Legalize it. Legalize it. Legalize it. The time has come. Not to legalize it is treason against the common man.
Okay.
Because the common man needs it. You know, our whole idea of our country is life. Don't take away our lives. Don't take away our breaths. Let us breathe. Life, liberty. Give me freedom. Let me go to college. Let me go to trade school. Don't bust me for bullshit little offenses. You know, and the pursuit of happiness. And weed will really help with the pursuit of happiness. And I tell you, back when I used to smoke, that's when I would balance my checkbook, because I hated balancing my checkbook. But I'd take a couple puffs, and it would calm me down, and I would balance my checkbook. And I never missed. I didn't miss add or miss subtract.
Yeah.
It gave me the calm to do it.
Yeah.
So,
That's hilarious.
yeah.
What a guy, Vic. So that's the moral of the tale then, is legalize weed.
Legalize weed.
What is our national debt now? It's like 3, 4, 5 trillion.
God, I lost count, and they're still printing money.
Yeah.
You know, and they were talking a while back about a second stimulus package.
Right.
A second payment protection plan package. Where'd that go?
Yeah, where did that go?
Where'd that go?
Man.
And I don't think anybody on my staff, even the people that qualifies, have gotten their checks yet.
Or debit cards or whatever.
Or debit cards or anything.
Or
you
they're
know?
sending out
I don't get it. I don't
Walmart
get it.
gift cards now. The Fed's printing Walmart gift cards. Well, let me read one more of these, Vic. This is from a gentleman by the name of Paul. Paul. So for our listeners, Vic, you are on Facebook, but you don't have Messenger. So
right.
That's the first part of this, is dealing with that.
Yeah. So all my Facebook friends and everybody listens to the podcast, I have to post this. I used to have to post it once a month. Now I have to post it every week. I don't have Messenger. I'm not going to use Messenger. There are other ways to get in touch with me. We have phone numbers. You can Google our phone numbers.
Or tons of email, or you can go through the website.
Go through the website. Yeah. Either the law office website, if it's legal, or vicfazel.com.
If it's illegal.
If it's, no, I mean by legal, if it has to do with a issue concerning the law.
Yeah.
And then there's vicfazel.com if you want to talk to me about something personal, or about the podcast or our YouTube channel. Right. Start looking at our YouTube stuff, people. You're stuck at home anyway. It's kind of fun. Now, the last, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, we've had to do this by Zoom, so our quality hadn't been as good.
It's true.
But
it's actually more interactive, though, because we started getting a little more creative with the Zoom, and now we have newspaper articles we lay over the video. We have cool video clips we insert. So when people listen to our earlier episodes, all they hear is like the audio from that. But now you can go to YouTube and watch our episodes and actually see the video clips now too. So you don't have to just listen to it, now you can see it.
Thanks to your talent, Jonathan.
Oh, I don't know about that. Thanks to your archive of information. Well, Mr. Paul emailed you, sir. He says, I am grateful that you posted on Facebook that you do not use Facebook Messenger. Thank you for accepting my friend request. Hey, you're welcome. I sent this to you earlier today. Mr. Feazell, I just wanted to tell you, after watching the Netflix series, you become a personal hero of mine. I had no idea that you went through all that. You stood your ground, you stood for what was right, and you did all that knowing that it might cost you everything. That is what a true hero does when faced with those types of decisions. I was astounded by all of the attacks that you suffered. Thank you for being an inspiration and a role model to me and so many other people. I do a little bit of legal work in Waco. If the opportunity arises, it'd be an honor to buy you lunch, dinner, drinks, whatever. Hey.
Thank you, Paul. I wrote Paul back, too, when I saw that. So I really appreciate that, Paul. Thank you very much.
We get a lot of those, man. People like that Netflix miniseries, and It's wonderful that one of the greatest takeaways I have from the entire series is they really singled you out, and they're reaching out to you directly, and I think that's really cool that your story is such a pivotal moment of their Netflix docuseries.
Yeah, and Netflix has enough archival material; they could do 5 more episodes.
They should
on other Lucas cases and on the Below trial. They've got all the video from the Below trial, all the newspaper articles, and that was when Gary Richardson and I took the civil case,
right.
And proved that everything they said about me was an absolute lie, and that it was said with malice. We had to prove malice, but they called in their secret weapon, federal judge Walter Smith, and the jury said, "Pants on fire, pants on fire."
Yeah. I would like to see something on that though, Vic, because you have the Guinness Book record for it, largest libel slander suit in U.S. history.
Yeah,
it's kind of stunning that no one actually has done that story. Like, even if it's just such a small piece of it, but just that piece.
I know.
I'm kind of surprised.
Well, we thought Spike Lee was going to do it, and then this coronavirus thing happened. I talked to him in Miami when I was down there in January, and but I don't even know how to get in touch with him. But we had a good talk down there, and he was going to listen to the podcast. I hope if Spike Lee, or if anybody that knows Spike Lee is listening to this, poke him. Tell him to listen to my podcast. He would want to do a movie about this, because I'm the guy who's always stood up for the little guy. Always. No matter what color you are. Sure. I've always stood up for the little guy.
Hi, I'm Vic Feazell. During these trying times, you might want to just stay home. And at the law offices of Vic Feazell, we understand. That's why we're set up to handle your personal injury claim without you even having to come in. Just give us a call, and we'll take it from there. We can send any paperwork straight to your smartphone or computer. Don't delay, because if we don't put money in your pocket, you don't owe us anything. I'm Vic Feazell.